The creator behind Nagatoro actually did it. He didn't give us the bad ending. Instead, he gave us not just one of the best Nagatoro chapters, but one of the best romance chapters, period. Spoilers for chapter 144 of Nagatoro. I had to bust out the shirt for this.
Boy, he got that shit on though.
So first off, I absolutely love that he calls her out for being a menace at the beginning of the manga. Now, he does mention this back in chapter 132, and she actually does apologize, but that was kind of just a blink and you miss it kind of moment. Here, he brings it front and center and calls her out for her bad behavior. I love it. He tells her that he felt like he was being attacked by a wild beast. A shark, a bear, a tiger. I don't know why she's getting defensive because it's 110% true. I mean, in the very first chapter, she makes this man cry, and then in the following chapter, she does the exact same thing. But with that said, I feel like a lot of people like to over-exaggerate about how bad Nagatoro was at the beginning of the manga. I mean, the worst thing she really does is make him cry, and again, that happened all the way back in chapter 1. Well, there's also the sunscreen situation all the way back in chapter 22. She was enjoying herself a little too much, but the only reason why that happened in the first place was because Senpai was being such a wet blanket. I mean, he's at the beach with some girls from his school, they actually want to hang out and have fun with him, but he's like, no, I feel like being a loner and just sitting on the beach. So Nagatoro actually tries to be nice and is like, hey, come on, come hang out, I'll even put some sunscreen on you. But then Senpai, being a wet blanket, is like, we're not cool like that, and that's when she retaliates. Again, that's about as bad as it got. Otherwise, what did she really do? Tickle him? Wash his hands? Give him a kiss? Yeah, she's really gonna be his 13th reason. I mean, back in chapter 3, Senpai realizes that Nagatoro isn't trying to make his life a living nightmare, she's just messing with him. But back to my original point, I love how he calls her out for her bad behavior. Nagatoro tries to throw him off his game by saying when she first met him, she thought he was just a roach. Hearing that, he would normally do his nervous tick of pushing up his glasses and avoiding eye contact and just being like, ah, shut up, leave me alone, Nagatoro. But here, he's like, yeah, you're right, I was a roach hiding in the shadows and you pulled me into the light. He doesn't let her trip her up, he's in complete control of the situation. Even Nagatoro picks up on this, she's like, I'm picking at him, but he's being real chill. He even starts being a little cheeky, which is something that I've always wanted from Senpai. Like when she would tease him, I would wish he would tease her back, you know, a little fun, playful back and forth. And we're getting that here, and I love it. She actually does try to teach him this all the way back in chapter 10. She's like, come on, Senpai, fight back, but instead he's on the verge of tears because she called his hair fluffy. Senpai back then really was just like a little...
Like a little bitch.
But now we truly have Chad Pie. Also, this is the same chapter where he accidentally slaps her chest. He goes on to say that he's always wondered why such a ray of sunshine would hang around such a gloomy guy like him. But whatever the reason, he's glad that she did. She really did bring light into his dull life. She just can't handle how honest he's being with his feelings right now, so her knee-jerk reaction is to tell him that he's gross. But again, he doesn't let that comment distract him from his mission. He's in complete control of the situation, which is the opposite of chapter 1, where Nagatoro was the one that was in control. And here comes the moment we've all been waiting for. He completely ignores her gross comment and tells her that he loves her and asks her out.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
And then we're greeted with one of the greatest confession reaction faces that I have ever seen. Nagatoro explains that just like Senpai, she felt like her life was kind of boring and dull until she met him. She was just kind of going through the motions, but seeing Senpai work as hard as he was made her want to change. Because if you remember, she was always very interested in his art, even all the way back in chapter 1. She even becomes his biggest supporter by going as far as putting on a cosplay to get people to come look at his art. So seeing him work towards his goal made her want to get out of her slump and go back to judo. And of course, she ends up accepting his confession. This was such a beautiful confession, but this leads into something that happened all the way back in chapter 81. She said if she beats her rival, she wanted a kiss, and surprisingly, Senpai's the one to bring this up. That was like the last thing on her mind. She was just happy that she has her man now. She's like, Senpai, you horn dog, you want to do it in front of all these people? We gotta set the mood. And this does actually track with her character because all the way back in chapter 123, she did set the mood and she wanted to do more than just kiss the guy. The chapter ends with some slapstick because she was embarrassed. And that was like my only real gripe with this chapter, is that it ended with slapstick, but otherwise it was perfect, you know, a 9.9 out of 10. As much as I love this chapter, it's also kind of bittersweet because it kind of brings up the question of, is this the beginning of the end? You know, in a lot of romance, when the main couple gets together, they fast track to the wedding, and I don't want that to happen with Nagatoro. I really want to spend more time with these characters and see their relationship grow. I want it to be like Yanshigao no Anjo-san. Don't worry, I'm not going to show any pictures from that manga or explain how they get together. I just don't think it's much of a spoiler to say that the two main characters do get together. But the reason why I'm bringing up that manga specifically is because it's still ongoing. It has around 160 chapters right now. The thing is, the two main characters got together around 40 to 50 chapters ago, so they've been together since then. So the manga has continued that long after the confession. That's not the norm. And I want the same for Nagatoro. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want the manga to get dragged out like a certain other piece of media. But I do want to spend more time with these characters, you know, a good balance. But if this is the beginning of the end, I only have one request. I want to meet Nagatoro's parents. I mean, we do have her brother and her sister, and I really do love her sister, but I want to get some time with her parents, whether that's a dinner, a vacation trip, you know, something. Or at the very least, I just want to see what they look like. We get to see his mom, I want to see hers. It would also be nice to see Nagatoro interact with his family now that they're a couple. If that happens, I'll be satisfied, and then the manga can end. Because if you guys didn't know, Nagatoro's been going on since late 2017, so it's been going on for like 6 years now. That's a good long time for a manga. So what did you guys think of the chapter? Any predictions for the future? Leave your comments down below. And if you like the video, like the video. And if you like me, subscribe to me. And as always, this has been Broken, and I'll catch y'all next time.